Let me take the opportunity to recognize the Minister of COGTA, Minister Hlabisa, the Deputy Minister, Dr. Masemola, and other Deputy Ministers that are here, and also the President of SALGA, Mr. Stofile, and your esteemed Executive Committee of SALGA, Executive Mayors, Councillors present here, Excellency Ambassadors, City Managers, Municipal Managers, and everyone here in your eminence. This is an important topic, and the President has taken stewardship of this conversation and how we're going to characterize, interpret, and also explain the issue of just energy transition. Just the other day, the President hosted the just energy transition with an emphasis on the financing of this transition. Today we are here, the President is hosting again this conversation, but now the focus is on its implications on municipalities and municipal spaces. I'm making this point just to illustrate that the intention by the President is to ensure that we democratize the conversation. We are able to nuance it and give it South African characteristics. So it's not a conversation for smoke-filled boardrooms, but it's got local traction. And the best way of ensuring that we are able to domesticate this conversation is to have a discussion with the local government leaders and practitioners. And that's why we are assembled in the manner that we are today, for us to be able to broaden that conversation. We do accept that at an international level, the issue of just transition, the energy complex, as they define it, seeks to address a trilemma. First of energy access, and it's got two components. It's availability, and we know now the manifestations of that availability in the South African context is a new issue of what we call load reduction. So there are hours in the day where multitudes of our people, households, don't have access to electricity as a result of load reduction. And that manifests itself downstream of the electricity value chain at the municipal level. So this conversation must help us to confront that question and see how best we can resolve it. The second component of energy access is that of affordability. Electricity prices have increased about 600% since 2006. That situation is untenable, has got a disproportionate impact on the poor. And that's why the President has occasioned this conversation, so that we are able to get it from, as it were, the horse's mouth, so that as we fashion a South African version of what we mean by just energy transition, is able to take account of all these questions. The second anchor of that trilemma is the issue of energy security, our ability to meet the future demand, allow the economy to grow, whilst making businesses competitive, and also ensuring that low-income households have access to affordable energy, electricity, and the rest of us have got electricity that is cost-reflective. And of course, the third anchor is on the ecological and environmental dimensions of this energy trilemma. And I guess that for the South African context, there's an issue of the socio-economic dimension. So we should be talking really, if you come to think of it, of a quadrilemma. And that's why it's important that we have this conversation. And like I said, the President has invested time to ensure that we have this conversation. And as I conclude, just to say that perhaps there's a need for us to rethink what is the question we are trying to resolve. So I guess that should just go beyond the trilemma. But we are trying to resolve the nexus of energy, water, food, and climate change. And all of these things find expression at the local government level. So like I said, the President has taken stewardship of this. The President has, on countless occasions, international platforms, articulated on the part not just of our country, not just of the region and the continent, but of developing countries on some of the dimensions that requires attention in this conversation of the just energy transition. So we really want to appreciate the leadership that is provided by the President. And I must emphasize that in our last cabinet meeting, a point was made that Minister Hlabisa must pull all relevant ministers, electricity, water, roads, engage with the local government to see how we resolve the challenges in the local government space. And I guess that this is but one of the many variables that requires our collective attention. So having said that, please join me in inviting the President to come and share with us the perspective of how we can find each other at a local government level to ensure that we are able to articulate the South African version of what we mean by just energy transition. It must be nuanced, have South African characteristics, and the President has taken leadership.